PlayStation. You having a rough week, man. Kind of a rough year. We've seen studios getting shut down. Games like Concord essentially coming out being canceled. I don't know if that's ever happened in the industry, especially to a game that was scaled up as much as that game was. We've had multiple games as a service games canceled, and now it's looking like the Insomniac dude has left the building. What's going on, you guys? Gaming Guide here, coming at you with another video. Today we're going to be talking about PlayStation, and man, they got to get whatever's going on. They got to get this fixed. They got to get the ship going in the right direction. The funny thing is, a lot of people act like I don't give PlayStation the smoke, where essentially my criticism is only for Xbox. No, my criticism is rated E for everyone. I will criticize any game or any publisher or any console manufacturer I feel is messing up to me. Does that mean I'm right? Nah, that doesn't mean I'm right. But you take what I say as a grain of salt, because, I have been following the industry long enough to see that trends don't work out the way that a lot of people think. A lot of people want to spotlight PlayStation, how bad they're doing in terms of Xbox and how bad they're doing. Even myself, I've been very critical of Xbox. I've talked about Xbox on a variety of occasions. And for the most part, I stand by all of that stuff. And that's just because I want the brand to do better. I'm invested into the brand. I've been playing Halo since the 360 days and the Xbox One days. I've been playing Fable since the Xbox One and 360 days. I have a lot of personal time invested into this brand, so I care about it. Comes to PlayStation, I do have time invested in PlayStation, but a lot of it is like third-party stuff. Like, I remember playing the older Final Fantasies, Kingdom Hearts. So as much as I remember good times with like the PlayStation 2, I wouldn't say it was their games that brought me to the ecosystem. I will say that God of War has always been a great game, and the Infamous, I really like Infamous too. I hope they bring back Infamous in a way. But PlayStation, in my opinion, maybe they're not in a worse scenario in terms of like console brand than Xbox, but I think they might actually be in a worse overall scenario than Xbox. At the end of the day, PlayStation, they're only as profitable as the whole company can be. If they start costing the company a lot of money, it's up to Sony to pretty much back in what they cost. And we saw this with the Shoe interview, where he was just like, look, like, Sony was doing so well when the PlayStation 3 happened, and, that console cost, Sony a lot of money, but they were able to offset it with other sections of the company and how well they were doing. Look, Sony isn't doing as good as they were back then. They still do decent, and PlayStation's a big part of that, but when you make these kind of decisions and you make these mistakes, it costs the whole company things. Do I think that's going to lead into them like shutting down or anything? No. I think PlayStation will be fine in the long run, but I do think they're going to dramatically scale back operations on terms of what they money had in terms of games like Final Fantasy VII, Remake, Rebirth. I also think it's going to money hat and, dramatically scale back games that they're going to try with new IPs, because we've seen it over and over again where companies have came out and said it's easier to sell a sequel to a game than sell new IP. I do feel that PlayStation will still do new IPs, but 5-6 years ago, where they would have greenlit 3 or 4 new IPs, they might greenlit 1, maybe they'll do 2. To see scenarios like this, it kind of makes me worried about the PlayStation brand, like, long term, not necessarily short term. I think they're still going to be fine. I think that's one of the reasons you're not seeing their games right now. For the most part, we don't really know a roadmap with PlayStation. And I don't think that's a matter of they don't have one, because I do think they have one. I think these games are so far off because they spent a bulk of the company working on these games as a service that's being canceled at an alarming rate. Let's pop over here because a new one has been canceled. What is that? The Horizon MMO it appears to be have canceled. We've always said that, Jim Ryan, Herman Holtz, like, favored Alloy to a huge dramatic lead somehow. Like, this individual has gotten so many games. I feel like, they've gotten remakes, which, can't really say that. Naughty Dog got a couple too. I feel like there was a movie, I think, that was in development, and an MMO. They had some VR stuff. There's a lot of stuff that they were doing. And, at the end of the day, that is just another example of, like, the games that are actually being, dramatically canceled from PlayStation. Because there's a lot. We went over this. Destruction All-Stars, that released. Gran Turismo 7, that released. Helldivers 2, that released. And then the rest of these are either canceled or we don't know what's going to happen. Concord, it was essentially canceled and shut down. Fair Games, we still have to see. And the Horizon multiplayer, I don't really know what, condition that's in, but that's to be continued. And at this point, because of how many we've been seeing them do when it comes to this games as a service, and I don't necessarily know if, this Horizon multiplayer is going to flop in the end. Maybe it's something they're going to add into the next Horizon, but it's not looking good. Marathon, I personally don't have a lot of faith in that game. The Horizon game, that was just canceled. Media Molecule, we ain't heard nothing about them. Gummy Bears, I'm pretty sure that's still in effect, but once again, what's that realistically going to do? A lot of people that really enjoy Bungie for Destiny don't really have a lot of faith in Destiny. And then, you got the LA studio, Naughty Dog canceled, Twisted Metal, which Twisted Metal kind of disappointed me a lot. I think, with the TV show, I feel like Twisted Metal would have did good. Spider-Man The Great Web, another game I really felt should have came out. London studio canceled, God of War live service canceled, Ben studio canceled. And another thing, like, I still don't understand why, like, the company thought it would be a good idea to, like, have Bluepoint do God of War. It's like Bluepoint has not really made their own IPs to that degree. So not only are they going to make, not necessarily like their own IP, but they're going to make something new in terms of the God of War franchise, and it's going to be like a games as a service. I don't even know how a games as a service would work. I still think that there's a way to make that work. I think if they would have did something, I don't know, I'm not a developer. I do think there is a formula, some way, shape, or form that would have worked when it comes to, the God of War and the games as a service. I don't know what it would have been. Look, I ain't going to sugarcoat it with you guys. It's not looking good for PlayStation. In terms of being a gamer. Now, in terms of, the actual company, I think they'll be fine. It's like I said, they'll scale back stuff. They'll upcharge a lot of things that they wouldn't have normally upcharged. I don't know if the PlayStation 5 Pro would have been $700 if they didn't take these giant financial, bargains on these games. I don't know. Guys, put in the comment section below. Do you think that would have been $700 if they didn't put so much money into all of these games as a service, or is PlayStation and Sony trying to make some of that money back with other products, such as like the VR, such as the PlayStation 5 Pro? We don't know what the PlayStation 6 is going to be. They've raised the subscription services a couple times. I remember one time it was dramatically. Are they doing this to get that money back? Because I'm very curious on that. Look, I think it's safe to assume that PlayStation, you cannot clown on Xbox and Microsoft in terms of how they're in the industry right now, and not have a little bit of smoke for PlayStation too. Look, in the gaming industry, is PlayStation probably in a better situation than Xbox? You could probably debate that, because I think they're both doing something different, and I do think that even though Xbox haven't had no growth in the areas that they want, they still have Microsoft at the end of the day to bankroll stuff. So it doesn't even matter if these games flop, because they can just keep going off of Microsoft's overall wallet. Does that mean Microsoft's going to enjoy that? Probably not. They'll probably, even potentially shut down the whole brand in the future. I don't think that's going to happen because, with Call of Duty, Bethesda, they got publishing units. So even if they did eventually abandon the hardware, They're going to be one of the most dominant third-party publishers in existence. PlayStation don't really have that option. I don't think that they can just go and be a third party if got to the point where they couldn't consistently make money with their first party outlook in terms of their hardware. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think on here. Do I think this is like doom and gloom on PlayStation? No. But I do think it's eye concerning. And I personally believe that if you have given Xbox the amount of heat that I have, it's got to be given with the same energy to other companies. In my personal opinion, PlayStation's about the same position that Xbox is in. But some people are doing it, doing better in some areas than other companies. I would say PlayStation, what they're doing good in terms of their hardware, in terms of the brand of hardware, they're doing really bad in terms of first party. A lot of people are losing faith in PlayStation first party, and from what they're doing in some of these scenarios to just the overall output of it. I think that involves too. And Xbox might not be doing good in terms of the hardware brand, but they're doing good in terms of just games in general. And I think a lot of people are leaning more towards the games. And we just got to see. We got to see exactly what happens. I'm very curious to hear you guys' opinion on this. I know a lot of people look at me as like a console war channel. Sometimes I take little funny jabs. I'm not going to lie. And that's mainly just making fun of like some of the crazy stuff I've heard on like Twitter, YouTube, in terms of what other content creators that are like really fanboys is saying. And it's not necessarily my own context. But anyway, put in the comment section below what you guys feel about this. And you guys enjoy the video, definitely hit that like button if you appreciated it. You can always sub to the channel. We make weekly content over here. The next couple days, we're going to be probably releasing multiple videos because we have the Direct tomorrow. We got a lot of info that's going to be coming out. I do have 2 videos I know is going up tomorrow, so I'm very curious your guys' opinion on that. Definitely follow me on Twitter if you haven't, Lord Addict ILP. You can always follow my streaming channel, Addict Arena. I'm starting to slowly get back in over there. It will be happening more and more. I got a couple plans over there. But anyway, I hope you guys have a good day. Until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace. Oh, it's been a good day, man. It's been a good day. In general. Not for PlayStation. It's been a bad week for PlayStation.